Oh, what awesome and inspiring leaders. Ramina, Fatal, Wharton, and welcome to the new board members, Lakeisha and Julie. It truly does take a village to make our cities and towns equitable and thriving. There's no question that this year has been hard on so many levels, but through it all, I continue to be so grateful to work every day with such extraordinary people, as well as the Active Trans staff and board and partners and you all. What I love about this work is the people we work with are the embodiment of committed, fired up, persistent, smart, visionary, and at times realistic when needed. We're all here tonight not because we are so excited to be in another Zoom meeting, but because we believe in the promise of active transportation, of walking, biking, and rolling. The impacts are profound for the climate, for our health, for our economic strength, for our quality of life. As we've navigated this pandemic, the role of active transportation has been elevated in new ways, and it faces new challenges as well as some of our old ones. So I want to share a little bit about what we've learned and what we've done. So what have we learned? First, we have heard and already knew, but it's been reinforced that loud and clear, public transit's a lifeline. Over a quarter of Chicago households don't have cars, and they shouldn't need one. Trains and buses serve as our crucial connector to the things we need and the places we need to go, our jobs, our stores, medical doctors, and more. But we have more work to do, a lot more work to do, in securing funds to make sure our region's transit system can function in the way it should. Secondly, we've experienced a boom in walking and biking, which provides such a hopeful glimpse into a transformed future for our streets and our health and our climate. Unfortunately, and you heard some of this from our partners, we have a ways to go for this to become a reality in our region. Many people can't and don't bike due to poorly designed and unsafe streets. We must prioritize people over vehicles so we all can walk and bike and be on our streets without fear of death or injury. And third, intersecting with these transit and cycling and pedestrian experiences are the ways the underlying racial and economic inequities in our region's transportation networks have become intensified by the pandemic. This is especially acutely felt by our essential workers who are disproportionately Black and Latinx. Addressing these inequities has been and will be the focus across our advocacy. It's at times like these that the urgency to address the gaps in transportation comes into sharp focus. I'll share just a few of the ways our collective advocacy throughout the year resulted in some crucial victories. The impact we've made would not have been possible without champions like you. Our action alerts have been off the charts this year. We are so proud of you for speaking out and speaking out again and again on really important things. So I'm going to share just a mere 10 examples of what we've accomplished together in 2020. Throughout the pandemic, we have fought hard to keep our region's buses and trains moving and safe. Our first 5 successes reflect this. First, we can continue to fight for the highest levels of COVID safety on transit. We've partnered with transit operators to persuade CTA and PACE and Metra to look at their boarding procedures, to look at PPE for drivers. We have provided social distancing guidance with our public health agencies, and we're seeking transparency in airflow circulation and other procedures to help keep everybody safe while riding. Secondly, with our partners, we took our fight to DC and won $1.6 billion in federal relief for our transit agencies who, let's be honest, are in a financial crisis because of the significantly reduced ridership due to the pandemic. The advocacy on this continues. You're going to hear more from that from us tonight and tomorrow and the next day. Third, we responded immediately to the unprecedented transit shutdowns in May and August that left many stranded. And we're working fervently to ensure that CTA, PACE, Metro Divvy remain in operation during periods of unrest. Our transit is a public good, and it must remain open and reliable. Fourth, at last, dedicated bus lanes. This fall, CTA announced some dedicated bus lanes on the city's busiest routes that were busy pre-COVID and have remained consistently busy through the pandemic. This has been one of our top priorities, and we're thankful to CDOT, CTA, and the mayor. Now we want to see if we can get some more routes added. This is a really important part of our COVID response. Fifth, the South Cook Fair Transit Pilot is on the cusp of launching. It's intended to make transit more affordable for the south suburbs where residents are paying a disproportionate amount of their transportation. We're thankful to Cook County, Metro, and PACE for seeing this through in this hard time and for advocates for getting this off the ground. Now, moving on to walking and biking. Together, we have fought to make it safer and easier to walk and ride where we want to go and where we need to go. I'm going to give you our top 5 there. First, we secured and implemented significant new money for active transportation. You may recall that last year we won a milestone victory. For the first time ever, Illinois' capital program includes dedicated, keyword dedicated, funding for walking and biking. And this year, over $105 million of those dollars were made available to communities across the state. We helped them prepare great projects and provided in-depth support to about 15 low-resource communities in our region. We cannot wait to see which projects get funded, and we want to make this as successful as possible every single year so that we can fight for even more money. Secondly, bike shops were declared essential services and businesses during the shutdown. We worried that bike shops were going to have to close just at the time when biking needs were increasing. We organized more than 70 shops to sign a letter to the governor, urging him to say bike shops are essential, which he did. And then we all proceeded to empty the shops and the supply chains and then some. Third, more street space is being dedicated to walking and biking, and this is one of the golden things of this moment. This summer, communities throughout the region launched shared and slow streets initiatives. More bike lanes were installed, including our much anticipated Milwaukee Avenue protected bike lane. But our drumbeat must continue for complete streets in action, for more street space dedicated to walking and biking. Last week, we did have another leap forward in that Chicago's capital plan included nearly $430 million to improve street safety and comfort. And that includes pedestrian safety islands, traffic calming, bike lanes, more bike parking. Really important stuff. Fourth, we're moving closer to a more seamless regional trail network. I feel like this is the hidden gem of our region. We have so many amazing trails, but we have major gaps in them and we can't ride seamlessly across them. So we have been working to fill the gaps along those networks and have had progress this year in the Chicago River Trail, the Lake Calumet area, Des Plaines River Trail, I&M Canal Trail, Skokie River Trail. A lot of trails, a lot of work to do, but so many important partners helping us do that. And last but not least, Metro has rolled out a bike car and eased bike restrictions across all their lines. This pilot is in large part thanks to our partner in Ride Illinois and Metro. We want to see this be expanded and become permanent. So I encourage you all to get riding and rolling to demonstrate to Metro that bike convenience should be part of their standard offerings. That was a lot in a very short period of time, and we couldn't have done it without you. There are tens of thousands of you behind this work. Thank you, thank you, thank you for inspiring these actions and investments. Just take a moment to think about what we did together, which is increase the relevance of sustainable transportation in our most pressing times. It's really, really remarkable. At the same time, so much work lies ahead. We're not satisfied. You're not satisfied. We shouldn't be satisfied. But as we look through, working through this and emerging from this pandemic, we can do it and emerge with safer and more expansive bicycle networks, with more equitable improvements in our infrastructure, with more street space dedicated to people, and with really bolstering our world-class transit. So I think that's actually a perfect way to transition to my colleague, W. Robert Schultz III. He's going to help set up the breakout room discussion, share some of our plans to that end in 2021, explain how we're centering our work around health and safety, around racial equity, and around essential travel to essential places, and set us up to have really fervent advocacy in the year to come. Thank you all for being here tonight, and I look forward to greater change in 2021.